Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome back to Mo's Corner. Boy, did your girl not have technical issues last week? But I'm back, and welcome to this week's episode of Mo's Money Mondays. Today we are going to be talking about FICA. Now, if you've ever opened or had a financial transaction of some sort, had a loan, opened an investment, had a trust, and all of that, you know the process of going through that, all the paperwork that they ask you for. It's a lot. It is because of FICA that these institutions have to ask for this type of paperwork. So let's roll it. Now, FICA stands for the Financial Intelligence Sector Act 38 of 2001, as amended by the Financial Intelligence Sector Amendment Act. Yes, I got that right. And what basically this act is an act that has control measures to combat against money laundering and terrorist financing activities. Now, because the South African financial sector is part of a global whole, and especially being part of the UN, being part of BRICS, being part of the African Union, we have to make sure that our financial system is safe enough and it does not give easy access to terrorists and to dirty money, so that we can be competitive in the global market. Nobody wants to play with criminals, right? Nobody wants to play with criminals. So this act gives control measures and implement sections to institutions and to provide them with measures on how to implement these laws at an individual. The FICA Act gives birth to the body that is the Financial Intelligence Center, and the center is the one that imposes these things. So FICA in itself is an act, as a piece of legislation that's written on paper, but the Financial Intelligence Center is a body that implements this. So like I explained last week, with the regulatory bodies, the Prudential Authority is given birth by law, but SAR, the South African Reserve Bank, is the one that makes sure that these laws are followed. Like with Financial Intelligence Center, makes sure that these accountable institutions follow these laws as written by FICA. Now, an accountable institution can be anything from any state agent, an attorney, a board of directors, someone who is in charge of long-term insurance or short-term insurance, an FSP that sells investment products, or an FSP that gives advice. All these people are in accountable institutions, and that means that they are bound by FICA to follow all these laws that are put in place, mainly to do customer due diligence, that is identifying and verifying the people that they're dealing with, and to make sure that these are exactly the people that they say they are, finding out and verifying source of funds and source of wealth, keeping records and reporting suspicious activities to the center. So the center acts like a pool. I don't know what movie to make a reference to, but the center acts like a pool. Yes. Minority Report. Yes. Like, you know, the pool where they keep the precogs. Right. The Financial Intelligence Sector acts like this pool where they collect all this information from all these accountable institutions, and they keep that information there, so that if there's like any sort of terrorist activity or suspicious activity, they can make this information available to authorities such as the Intelligence Service, the National Prosecuting Authority, the Public Prosecutor, IPID, and SARS. And to exchange information with these bodies in similar bodies in other countries. So we work hand in hand. We are part of a global whole, and we work hand in hand with them. So if we suspect that an American is trying to launder money in our financial system, and we would have identified this because we would have, by asking for proof of residence, ID, and all of that, we would have found out that this person is a citizen of the US. And as such, if we are suspicious of their activity, then we look for a similar body on the other side, and we report this to them that, look, your citizen is trying to do mshiga in our country, so you better take care of this, right? And then the center also enforces and supervises compliance with the act. Now, on a day-to-day basis, the individual person will not be affected by a lot of these. The accountable institution has to follow these laws and do all the due diligence and record keeping in the background. But you will be affected because when you try to do an investment, you have to be identified, and you have to, there's some information that you're going to have to provide. So these identifications are different at different levels. So if you're an individual like me who is just an employee and I'm just trying to do an investment, they'll probably due diligence. I'm not that risky a person, right? So they'll probably like only do like an ID, proof of residence, a banking statement, and then they will do my investment for me. But if someone was to do an investment on my behalf, they have to identify me and identify the person who's doing the investment on my behalf. So everyone has to be identified. And then there's different identification and verification steps that have to be gone through for partnerships, for trusts, and for different legal entities, right? And then there's ongoing due diligence. Right now, say I'm not just a regular employee. Now I'm a manager, or I'm a manager and in a financial capacity, so I handle finances. I'm a bit riskier because I have access to finances, and I have access, like it's easier for me to do fraud. So my income and my savings could be part of fraudulent activity. So they have to dig a little bit deeper, and they have to have identifying methods that are a bit more thorough. Well, they all have to be thorough, but they have to dig a little deeper on a more prominent person than they would with a regular person. Now, there's another level of due diligence that they have to do for someone who is a prominent person, say a celebrity, or a person who is in politics, a person who is like an athlete or a board of director, or all of that. If there is something that makes it easier for you to get money, or money illegally, then there has to be some deep digging on you. And if you're related to these people, they also have to do the digging, because this money could have come from this person who is a prominent person and come to you, and you're investing the money and all of that. So there is a whole lot of checks that go on in the background. So if an accountable institution is asking you for what you think is all this person, especially please this information that you need, like for the why, it is because they are by law bound to ask and to identify and verify that what you are saying, to the best of their abilities, they have done their due diligence and dug and are sure, as far as they can be, that the money you are bringing into the financial system is clean, and you're not trying to bring dirty money, put it in the system and get it out clean. So that's basically what money laundering is. You take money from selling pirated CDs, take money from fraud, money that you stole from your mother's bank account or in a bank somewhere, and then you put it in the financial system, and then a few months later you take it out. That money is now clean, right? You've laundered the money, like laundry. You've laundered the money. So basically that is what FICA is trying to do. I hope you and I understand each other. So next time someone asks you Just be like, okay, I will give you the information that you require. It will make things much, much easier. Now, there's a whole lot of other stuff that I didn't get into, like money thresholds of like investments and the time, like if you invest money today and you take it out tomorrow, like that is suspicious activity. And if there's a whole lot of cash and so there are a lot of system in play, but the regular person will be affected by all this information that they ask for. And if you feel like they are bugging you, asking for a lot of information, say you have a lot of cash and you want it in a casino, and you have a lot of cash and you feel like they're treating you like a suspect, they have to identify where that money comes from, because FICA requires it. So don't think they're just thinking, oh, I'm just a scalema, they're looking at me and I look suspicious and they think I'm a scalema. It's because the law requires them to do that. Because if they don't, the FSP, the accountable institution, could be closed down, they could be charged and they get imprisonment, and they could be fined something from 10 million to 100 million. So they take these things very, very, very seriously. All right. Okay, my peeps. I will be back on Friday with regular programming. I'm doing a new exercise program, so tune in for that. And I will be back next week, Monday. I will be talking about interest rates, because my light is malfunctioning. I will be talking about interest rates because that has been on everyone's lips and on the government's lips for quite some time since we started lockdowns. So until then, adios muchachos. Love, peace, and blessings. Mwah.